Good morning.
Okay.
Administrator Krupp, can you take it
Yes,
away this morning?
I can get us started here. This is the November 1st, 2018 business meeting, and I'm going to start with a roll call. I will introduce Mr. Nate Boderman here on behalf of the Office of County Counsel, and of course, Mary Rathke serving as the clerk to the board this morning. And I did want to announce that Chair Bernard and Commissioner Humberston are both out on a trade mission to China this week and will not be in attendance today. So Commissioner Fisher will serve as the chair for this meeting, and Commissioner Savas is participating via telephone. So let me start with the roll. I'll start with Commissioner Savas.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Here.
And Chair Fisher.
Here. May we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I would like us to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Housing Authority for the next item. And I would like to introduce our Housing Authority Commissioner, Paul Reynolds.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I would like to ask that we proceed with the Housing Authority consent agenda, and if the clerk could read by title.
You bet. Today's Housing Authority consent agenda. We have approval to enter into a project-based voucher contract agreement for housing assistant payments with Pleasant Street Housing LLC, and adoption of the Housing Authority of Clackamas County's cash management and investment policy.
Thank you very much. Do any commissioners want to remove any items? No. Any questions? All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Second. Excellent. It has been moved by Commissioner Reynolds and seconded by Commissioner Schrader to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda passes. Now I would like to announce that we will adjourn as the Housing Authority Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Administrator Krupp, who will announce the next item.
Sure, thank you. And I'll also give an acknowledgement to Commissioner Reynolds from the Housing Authority, stepping away. Thank him for joining us today. So thank you, Paul. Good. Okay, so the first item we have here is the regular Board of County Commissioners is the reading and adoption of a previously approved land use ordinance item, a ZDO-270. This is the Transportation System Plan Amendment. And we have Mr. Nate Boderman here to talk about this item with you.
Good morning, thank you. We're recommending adoption of an ordinance to implement the previously adopted ZDO 270 proposal, which does relate to amendments to the Transportation System Plan portion of the county's comprehensive plan. Specifically, this amendment would make 3 amendments to the tables and figures currently in Chapter 5 of the comprehensive plan. A bit of history here. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this September 10th of this year and voted 6-0 to recommend approval of staff's proposal to the Board of County Commissioners. Just a few weeks ago, the Board of County Commissioners held a public hearing on October 3rd and unanimously voted 5-0 to orally approve ZDO 270 as recommended by both staff and the Planning Commission. Staff has drafted the ordinance before you today to reflect the board's decision that was made on October 3rd, and it's certainly staff's recommendation that you approve the ordinance materials that have been included in the packet. So happy to answer any questions that you might have on this particular item.
Okay, are there any questions? No. Commissioner Savas?
Nope.
All right, so if there aren't any clarifying question, I would ask for a motion to move the ZDO 270 by title only.
I move we read ZDO 270 by title only.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Schrader and seconded by Commissioner Savas that we move to read ZDO 270 by title only. All those in favor say aye.
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 And I think that's all of us with Commissioner Savas, Commissioner Schrader, and myself, so the motion is approved. And Mary, would you please read by title only?
I will. It's ordinance number ZDO-270, an ordinance amending figures 5 through 1, A through F, urban cross sections, figure 5 through 2, A through F, rural cross sections, table 5 through 3, C, long-term capital projects, and Appendix A of the Clackamas County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. So now it is time to move the ZDO 270, and I would ask for a motion.
I move we adopt ZDO 270, Transportation System Plan Amendment as previously approved at the October 3rd, 2018 Land Use Hearing.
Do we have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Savas. It has been moved by Commissioner Schrader and seconded by Commissioner Savas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That is approved. All right, now is the time that we will recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as Service District Number 5 street lighting for the next item.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a public hearing to consider a board order forming a 12-lot assessment area within Clackamas County Service District Number 5, Assessment 46-18 Mabel Avenue, which is a 12-lot petition. And we have our street lighting utility manager, Wendy Coriel, here to present this item to you.
Take it away, Wendy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Wendy Coriel with Service District Number 5, and I represent the areas of Clackamas County and the city of Happy Valley for street lighting. Street lighting is installed through conditions of approval for residential, commercial, and multifamily developments in the urban areas of Clackamas County and also for the city of Happy Valley. Street lighting can also be installed through a petitioning process, which is the item that we have before you today. There is one street lighting service area, and it'll have 12 lots that will be looking for approval. And the area is 46-18, 12-lot petition. This is on Mabel Avenue. We're looking to have Cobra lights installed on their existing wood poles. This will come under rate B, and this is $49.01 per tax lot each year. In order to install the street lights through the petitioning process, the district must have over 50% of the property owners in the area support by signing the petition. And in this case, we had 58% of property owners sign. Prior to scheduling this hearing today, the street lighting district notified all the property owners in the area in writing that the public meeting would be held today. And we had no remonstrances received. That concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And then we also have John Redding here, who was the actual petitioner that canvassed for petition in his neighborhood.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. Do commissioners have any questions for the presenters? Great. Well, hearing none, I would like to open the public hearing and ask if anyone would like to speak. Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing, and I will ask for a motion.
I move we approve the board order forming a 12-lot assessment area within Clackamas County Service District Number 5, Assessment 46-18 Mabel Avenue, 12-lot petition as presented today.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader. Do I have a second? Okay, I hear that, Commissioner Savas. It has been moved by Commissioner Schrader and seconded by Commissioner Savas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we are all in a favor. Shall we all say aye?
Aye.
Great. So now we will adjourn as the Service District Number 5 and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners for the remainder of the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And with that, we will move on to the consent agenda. Mary?
Yes, today's consent agenda. Under Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of Amendment Number 3 to a Revenue Intergovernmental Agreement with Oregon Department of Human Services, Office of Vocational and Rehabilitation Services. Under our Department of Transportation and Development, approval of Amendment Number 3 to the Supplemental Project Agreement number 25214 with the Oregon Department of Transportation for the Salmon River Elk Park Road Bridge Project. Approval of a professional services contract with Acela, Inc. to provide software consulting services for the Building Codes Division. Under our Finance Department, approval of contracts with Library Language Services Limited Liability Company for on-call interpretive services for Clackamas County departments. Approval of a contract with Flynn BEC for the Public Services Building re-roof project. Approval of a contract with Earthworks Landscape Service for ground maintenance and repair services. Under our elected officials, we have approval of previous business meeting minutes. Under County Administration, approval of an intergovernmental agreement grant award with the State of Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development for housing needs assessment. Under our Juvenile Department, approval of the Commercially Sexual Exploited Children CSEC grant award with Safety Compass. Under Business and Community Services, approval of a Willamette Falls Legacy Project Rediscover the Falls 2018-2019 grant agreement by and among Metro, the City of Oregon City, Clackamas County, the Rediscover the Falls, and Oregon Nonprofit Public Benefit Corporation. Under North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, approval of a facility use agreement with Clackamas County Master Gardeners Association for gardening services at the Milwaukee Center. Under the Development Agency, an agency spelt wrong on that, excuse us, approval of the First Amendment to the Road Maintenance Agreement with Clackamas Corporate Park. Under Water Environment Services, Amendment Number 2 to the agreement between Water Environment Services and Brown and Caldwell for the professional engineering services for Phase 3 of the Kellogg Creek Water Resource Recovery Facility Improvement Project. And that concludes today's consent agenda.
Thank you so much. Would any commissioners like to remove or pull any items from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Schrader and seconded by Commissioner Savas to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion is approved. All right. Now, moving on to citizen communication.
Oh, we have one. I didn't give it to you.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Les, come on up. Thank you. Appreciate you being here this morning. And every Thursday that you're able to make it.
Almost every Thursday, like it or not. I think I get more likes on Facebook than dislikes, but I don't follow it real close. Les Poole, I live in Gladstone. Greetings, Chair Fisher and commissioners. See how that sounds. I want to start by saying that I was very pleased, and I want to thank the City of Oregon City for naming their new park after Tyrone Woods, who tragically was murdered in Benghazi. And I routinely post a photo on Facebook of the sign, the little memorial there on 213 as you head down the hill to Tyrone. And a lot of folks take care of that spot. I noticed that it's growing, and at some point it may turn into an 1-acre shrine, so I know that at some point folks will have to limit it. But that little memorial there on the highway didn't do justice to what happened, and naming the park after him was really a good thing. And a couple of other things. One is, looks like we're getting a pretty good turnout. There's some big issues. The governor's race is real interesting. This isn't the place to get into the bizarre conduct of the candidate of the independent party. Very troubling, regardless of who you support. Very troubling. Hopefully the legislature will address that in the future. Two other things. One is we're having an evening meeting on November 29th, and I encourage folks to come down and talk about things that matter. And it's not as intimidating as it might look. I've been coming a long time, and I haven't been beaten up yet. So close with one last thing. I could have spent all 3 minutes on tolling and on our measure and where it's at, but I'll just say this. We're in a unique situation here. While I've had differences with commissions in the past, right now the commission agrees with me and more importantly, agrees with the citizens about the proposal to toll us. So we can all work together on that. And yet here we have the elephant that's not in the room, Metro, that certainly likes the idea. So it puts the commission and the region in a really weird, twisted place, not twisted, but awkward place. Because, of course, we're somewhat beholden to Metro. They have a lot of control over your decisions and, frankly, the decisions everywhere. So it's going to be a real interesting outcome. Our ballot language, or I should say the ballot language created by the Attorney General, has been challenged. It'll probably take a month or two, but the Supreme Court will rule on it. And no matter what the ruling is, I look forward to starting to collect thousands of signatures after the first of the year. So as always, thanks for your time. I'm over my 3 minutes, but that's what's nice about Clackamas County.
Thank you, Les.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, I see that our elections clerk, Sherry Hall, has come into the room. Would you like to come up and give us an update? Oh, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. Wow, just two ladies. Nice.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Savas is here by telephone, so.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to give you an update and also announce that this is really the last day to mail your ballot because it won't get to us on time, possibly. In fact, if it were me, I wouldn't be mailing it today. I would be putting it in a drop box that they're located all around the county. And if you look at the yellow line, that's the latest update that we have on returns, and you'll see that we're doing really well. If you look at the number of ballots for the first section, which is this election, and then clear to the right 4 years ago, we are up considerably more since last time. So we are getting heavier returns. There's actually been some articles in the newspaper about that. So the voters are getting out, and we want them to continue. And I would like to invite all of the commissioners to come over to our office anytime during the day, between now and Election Day, to just see what's going on. It's in full swing of processing everything for tally. And we have 16 tables of 4 temps each, which make a total of 72 people that are opening ballots to prepare for tally. It's really a busy place. And we have 5 teams of 2 drop box pickup people who are going out every day, sometimes twice a day, to pick up ballots from the drop boxes. And on election night, we will have 25 teams. So that's an additional 20 that will be there right at 8 o'clock when we close. And if there's lines of traffic or walkers, one of the team members will get at the end of the line at 8 o'clock, and no one else will be allowed in line because it has to be in the box by 8. So we have a total of about 120 temps. It's a pretty big group this time. And we're hoping for, we had almost 85% turnout in presidential. It would be great to have that in the governor race. But usually it has always been around 60. So. Is there any questions from anyone?
I'll be dropping off my ballot today.
Yay, Martha.
Did it yesterday, so finally.
You finally
getting
voted it?
Yeah, and hopefully this time, do I need to do a signature in front of somebody, just so they know it's my signature?
No, because we have your signature on file. If
Okay,
it doesn't
good.
match, we'll let you know, and
All right.
you'll
Okay.
have a 14-day period to get it fixed.
And I'm not going anywhere this time, so I won't be out of the area. So thank you for that.
Okay, and when you mentioned your ballot, there are some complicated things on there that people have actually been making some phone calls about. All we can do is read it to them. You can't ever help them get through it because that's an opinion from somebody. But instead of being overwhelmed and thinking you can't vote on everything and then you're not going to turn in your ballot, whatever you vote will be counted, and it's okay to leave blanks instead of guessing.
I have a comment.
Commissioner Savas, go ahead. We can hear you just
Yeah,
fine.
Okay, great. Just want to have Sherry Hall explain to folks about where on the county website the ballot drop locations are, because we don't want to encourage people to mail them because they will be late. But I do know that typically most of our libraries have those. Anything you want to add, Sherry?
Okay, in the voters pamphlet, the last page of the county section, which is the dark edged pages, there's a list of all of the drop boxes and the locations. And there's also a QR code that you can scan with your phone, and it will populate a Google map showing you where they are. The asterisks mean that those are drive-up boxes. So anyone who is handicapped and can't get out of the car, just find the closest box with an asterisk and drive up to it. It is on the website. You get into the county website and then do elections and go into the November 6th election, and that's where all the information is for this election.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, I have a couple questions. From the time that you receive the ballot, how long does it take for it to be registered as being turned in?
Okay, the ballots all come in through one door from the drop boxes and the mail. We pick up ballots every morning at the Oregon City Post Office. And they come in, they are fed through a ballot acceptance machine, which scans the barcode on your ballot where you sign it. And then they go over to Signature Verify. And the Signature Verify looks at the digital image from the scanned ballot envelope, along with a digital image of the statewide voter file and the Clackamas County piece that we have all of our voters on. And that takes, we've been working, we can start doing that on Tuesday of this week, which was 2 days ago. And so we have had the temps in working every day, and we will have them every day because of the high returns. So it goes from Signature Verify to the tables, first of all to the opener, and then the open envelope to the tables, and the openers open them and smooth them out to get them ready for tally. And it's probably different time frames. We started on Monday, and we did quite a few scannings on Monday. So, do you want hours-wise or what?
Well,
it can
I'm
be
just
done
curious.
the same day.
People are calling. I usually turn my ballot in early. I did not this year. I just dropped it off yesterday. But my phone at home has been ringing off the hook of people reminding me to vote. And I
getting
understand
robocalls.
that campaigns can have access to who is voted so they don't get phone calls. So my encouragement to folks is to vote early and get those ballots in so that the campaigns that are interested in pulling out that vote don't need to keep hounding people.
Okay, and so what you're talking about is just the fact that the ballot has been turned in.
Yes.
Because
Like,
once
where's
it
the
goes,
how's that how long does it take to register that?
okay, those ballots, like I said, are fed through the ballot acceptance machine, and that file, when the ballots are all through for that batch, that file gets uploaded into the statewide voter file, which is OCVR, and that populates all of the fields, including if the ballot has been received from that voter. So that's probably within 4 hours of receiving them in the office. And it is true that campaigns, they buy the lists of who has and hasn't voted and stop sending things to the ones who have voted.
So
That's
since
the
I turned in
goal.
my ballot yesterday, then my phone calls should stop today.
If those campaigns are following that rule, yes.
Thank you so much.
But we really appreciate the early returns, because that means that on election night at 8 o'clock or 8:05, when the first results go up on the website, it's going to be a much larger portion of the returned ballots instead of having to wait some hours to get them all on there.
Yeah, well, and it's really interesting. I really like this chart, and I wish everybody could see it. But what I really like about it is how it shows when the ballots come in, what percentage. And if you look at it, most people do wait until the very end. I mean, so many ballots come in on
is
election
true.
day. So the
Well, and
last,
part of that is because the campaign doesn't stop.
yeah,
It used to stop when the ballots went out, but now it kind of goes all the way up through Election Day. And so if there's something that's going to change their mind, they want to make sure they can allow for that, for the late returns.
well, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. And I know this is on the minds of a lot of our citizens, so we appreciate it.
And there's a lot of news out there. Did you each look at the email yet that I sent to you from the Secretary of State? They will be doing a YouTube video every day with progress of the election.
Okay.
This morning, the one that was talked about mostly is the independent candidate who has stopped campaigning and wants to support Kate Brown. But the withdrawal date to be off the ballot would have been August 31st. So since his name is still on the ballot, all of the votes for him will go to him. They won't be transferred to another candidate.
Yeah, on my personal email yesterday, I received an email from Secretary of State Richardson that went through and described some of the, fraudulent activities that are going on of people being notified that they aren't actually registered or different things. And I was not aware that that was happening, so I really appreciated him putting out that email blast and just,
Right, there can
if
be
you have a
lots of
question, call your
misinformation
call your
out there.
county clerk
Right.
and get the information from the
Right.
directly. So,
Right, we'll take your phone calls anytime. We like to answer questions and give you correct information.
yeah, thank
So
you.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else for citizen communication? No? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to our county administrator update.
Okay, is Commissioner Savas still on the line?
I am.
Okay, all right, very good. So I've got several items of good news to share with you. First, our Health Centers Division of our Health, Housing, and Human Services Department operates a special dental program for veterans. And through this program, qualifying veterans can receive much-needed dentures at virtually no cost. We received a note from a program participant and a 40-year county veteran, his name is Walter, who wanted to express his gratitude for the program. He said, "I give special thanks to Clackamas County for providing me with much-needed dental work. My teeth were missing, I had loose teeth, and I was in pain. I am now on the road to having a functional, pain-free mouth full of dentures," and I bet one heck of a smile along with that as well. So I wanted to thank Walter for the note and thank the staff at our health centers and also our Veterans Services Office who were both involved in making this program available. Then we also received a note from a satisfied customer regarding our Water Environment Services staff. It involved two of our employees, Kevin Rotrock and Matt Zach, who had performed a sewer pipe inspection on his property up in Welch's. And the customer wrote, "You guys were awesome. I was sweating hand grenades over this. The county is lucky to have pros like you two. I would like to pass along your courtesy and professionalism. Don't mind at all paying my taxes to have guys like you taking care of business." So I wanted to thank this gentleman for the note and also give a special thanks to Kevin and Matt for providing excellent service. And then finally, I wanted to share with you that our leadership in our disaster management department was recently recognized by the Oregon Emergency Management Association. So that's the statewide association of emergency managers, responders, and many others who are committed to building partnerships to minimize the impact of disasters here in the state of Oregon. Our director, Nancy Bush, and our administrative services manager, Sarah Ekman, were recognized for their exceptional coordination in service. And our resilience coordinator, Jay Wilson, received the coveted honor for his dedication towards resilience in the county, region in the state. And I just wanted to say, keep it up, guys, in disaster management. Great work.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Administrator Krupp. We are moving now on to Commissioner Communication. Commissioner Schrader, you're up.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I had a busy week. One of the highlights was I had an opportunity to have breakfast with one of our legislators, Representative Jeff Reardon. We talked about a number of things. It was a great coffee and breakfast. The purpose was for me to sit with him and chat about what our legislative priorities are for Clackamas County in the upcoming session. And a lot of the things that we talked about revolved around transportation, the I-205 corridor, the necessity for that, widening, as well as, not to forget, Sunrise Phase 2 as we continue to grow in the east side of the county. We talked about workforce issues because Representative Reardon has been a champion of CET, or Career and Technical Education, so it's CTE, excuse me, across the state, and which has helped our workforce board prioritize those kinds of technical education opportunities in our local high schools and our junior highs, believe it or not. We basically also talked about the Aurora Airport and land use, and the idea that we would like to make sure that the land use process is followed should that airport expand. There's a lot of heated conversation about that, and our stance is that we will follow the process. I talked a little bit about the Association of Oregon Counties, which is our statewide organization, and how we are moving towards professionalizing the organization itself, and really moving very quickly towards fiscal stability. So that was a good conversation. I wanted to also mention one particular thing that I'm going to pull out from our consent agenda, and this was under Business and Community Services. And this was the approval of the Willamette Falls Legacy Project Rediscover the Falls grant, which is a grant between Metro, the City of Oregon City, Clackamas County, and Rediscover the Falls. Rediscover the Falls is really a nonprofit corporation. They are working in partnership with the three entities to make sure that when the River Walk is built, that there's also additional dollars. They are fundraising very, very assertively. Have $5 million in the bank and hope to get another $5 million put towards the Rediscover the Falls and the Falls Legacy Project. And that's a little different than across the river in West Lynn. This is Oregon City is Rediscover the Falls. Across in West Lynn, we continue to work with the Army Corps of Engineers to unlock the locks. We had our engineering report, which actually showed that the lock is in pretty darn good condition for an asset that's been there for over 100 years at this point. We're working on the governance model now. So from my perspective, having been here for a while, it's the closest we've ever come to see the possibility of a transfer from the Army Corps of Engineers to an entity in Oregon. So that whole area on Oregon City and West Lynn has kind of got a lot of stuff bubbling up, a lot of good things going on. And there is also work to make that whole area, because it's so important to the history of Oregon and to the history of our Native Americans and the tribes that were there centuries before we were even there, to really move that ahead and make that a heritage site. It would be one of the first heritage sites, which I think is critical on the West Coast. They have a number of them on the East Coast, so we're pushing very hard to be number one, because Oregon City was one of our key areas that really gave birth to the great state of Oregon. So all of that history, all of that wonderful access that we'll finally have to the second largest waterfall in the United States of America, second only to Niagara Falls and Buffalo, that will have an opportunity to really finally get a close view of that. So very, very happy and proud about that. I'm going to actually, please remember to vote folks, I'll be dropping off my ballot. Commissioner Fisher has already dropped off her ballot. This is a very critical election cycle. A lot of interest, a lot of conversations out there. So be part of the conversation, be part of our democracy, and vote and go to a drop box. Or I'm going right to the clerk's office today because it's around the corner, so I'll be dropping my ballot there. Okay, I don't know if, Mary, should I do the word first or arts and culture? Okay, the word of the week is reproach. It's a verb and a noun, to express stern disapproval of. Did you know that as a noun, reproach means scornfully stated disdain? Wow, disdain's another really fine word, too. Okay, the children continued to misbehave in the library, prompting the librarian to give them a reproached look. They quickly grabbed a book and sat quietly until they left the library. So the word of the week is reproach. Okay, arts and cultures activities in the county. All righty. Celebración de Dia de los Muertos, a community-wide, I hope I'm rusty with my Spanish, so let's hope I said that correctly. A community-wide, family-friendly, free celebration. Bring ofrendas for the community altar. Enjoy piñata decorating, face painting, traditional treats, music, and much more. Coordinated by Clackamas Community College student leaderships, Unidos Club, and Clackamas County Arts Alliance Latino Arts Planning Group. In partnership with Bridging Cultures Canby, Hispanic Interagency Networking Team, Unite Oregon City, and the Westland Alliance for Inclusive Community. Wow, that sounds like it's really going to be fun. And that's this Friday, November 2nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Clackamas Community College Community Center in Oregon City. So close, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Baker Prairie Middle School presents 2018 Art to Arts Bazaar. Come out of the 6th Annual Art to Arts Bazaar, a fundraiser for Baker Prairie Middle School traveling students. Each year, the BPMS community hosts an art bazaar that gives students the opportunity to raise money to offset the cost of their educational trips. Food, music, community, and beautiful arts and crafts support student vendors and their fundraising efforts for educational travel opportunities. And that is Saturday, November 3rd, 9 to 4 p.m., Baker Prairie Middle School in Canby. And for any other information about events, go to clackamasartsalliance.org. I will say that the opening of Inherit the Wind is happening this Friday at the Lakewood Center for the Arts. And I'm going to have the privilege of having the whole cast of 45 at my house at about 10:30 that night for a cast party. So I'll be spending most of my afternoon on Friday making lasagna, baked ziti, and eggplant parm. So there you go, and lots of salad and whatever. Oh, you should come over. Yeah. No, you are invited, and I was hopeful you'd let us know what Kirk was up to too. So
Yeah, it's all about rehearsals for A Christmas Carol for Stumptown Stages and in production for Dreamgirls. So between Scrooge and sparkly dresses, we have quite the life at our house. So I'd be happy to go eat some lasagna, to be honest with you.
Come over to my house and get some Italian food.
Thank you. Commissioner Savas, are you with us to share some thoughts?
Yes, I am. Thank you. I want to just share what we were celebrating a week ago, Clackamas County's 175th birthday. Yeah. And for those of you who did not participate in that or see any of that, I just want to amplify on my gratitude on our previous commissioners and staff who were so visionary in planning and realizing that what Commissioner Schrader mentioned earlier and touched on was the Sunrise Corridor, not so much in that it is a highway, but it really is to meet the needs of growth and the growing population. It's probably the most affordable place that we can grow and accommodate the growing population. And the land is cheaper out there than it is if we were to redevelop, and we would not impact people's lives so much when we redevelop. But I did want to just amplify the fact that the concept of the Sunrise Corridor came decades ago, and the region's been slow to recognize how important this is, and maybe now the region can accept and understand why, more than ever, that this is such an important for our future. But I just want to give my thanks to, again, all the previous commissions that were in the past that proceeded along and even made phase one happen to some degree, and having the urban renewal district that acquired the land and made a lot of those road improvements and really did a lot for the employers in the area. And speaking of employers, I did want to say that both yesterday morning and at lunch yesterday, I was in front of two business events, which the employers expressed really what I've been hearing for a while, but I think what I was taken aback by yesterday more than anything was that the number of employers almost seemed somewhat unanimous that they're all having difficulties trying to recruit people. And I was particularly noticing that one of the comments from one of the employers there was they were trying to recruit from more than one of them. They're trying to recruit people from out of state to come here. And the challenge, which I've heard before, which is important to share with you today, the challenge they're having is that the cost of living in this area is so high that a lot of these people that need the jobs out of state are really finding a difficulty finding housing they can afford. And so, they would come here, but they would not have a place to live. And I can just tell you from personal experiences with people that have wanted to move here that I know, family members included, the cost of living has just been a challenge and really a barrier. So we really need to think about how we develop and build housing or allow the industries, the private industry, to build housing in as affordable a way as we can. And I think that's really an important message that I took away from yesterday. But the fact that it's a growing concern amongst employers, I think really sets the tone for what we need to think about. So I really appreciate the Commission's efforts, and I'm really hoping that we can move the ball as far as trying to make that new territory, call it the Sunrise East, really a place for our future. I also want to, as others have, encourage people to vote. A lot of measures on the ballot, a lot of elections for office in different areas of the county and the state. So there's a lot of important issues, and I would just say that your vote matters, and I think that the more the turnout, the better the turnout. And when you're aware that the turnout is so high, that should really be a call to action and for everyone to do their civic responsibility and vote. And I want to close with this one really important thing. It's kind of, I should have used the segue of the earlier conversation, but people need to remember that a lot of folks out there are that are homeless are actually working and have jobs, and it's a sad state of affairs today when a good chunk of their paycheck is inadequate, or their entire paycheck is inadequate to meet the needs of the rents currently in the area, and that's a sad state of affairs. And there are people that are struggling today that have a home that are barely making it and using virtually most of all their check to pay the rent, and yet try to feed their family and their kids. So the cost of living in this area is something that we need to be very mindful of and be as considerate of when we talk about anything that raises the cost, and affordability of housing is something we really need to be focused on. So that's my message for today. Please vote, and as the clerk said earlier, the ballot locations, the ballot drops, please don't put it in the U.S. mail. It won't make it on time. And the ballot drops are the white boxes, I believe. And those locations are listed on the county elections website. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Appreciate you joining us by phone today. So we did have the 175th birthday party. And that was quite a celebration. It was quite an honor to be serving, and I'm sure I speak for Commissioner Schrader and the rest of my commissioners when I say for us to be serving at this time, at this moment, when we can reflect on what was and also look at where we want to go, it's pretty overwhelming, inspiring, and humbling. So on the morning of the 175th birthday, I woke up at 4 a.m. going, oh my gosh, it's the birthday party today, and oh, are we going to have a time capsule? And oh my goodness, and all these thoughts were flooding into my mind. And so I got up, went out, started typing up what I was thinking I would want to say to the citizens of 50 years into the future. And it really caused me to focus on how incredibly important our quality of life is to all of us in Clackamas County. And just this week, and Commissioner Savas shared some of it, but we had the discussion with the business leaders at the Business and Industry Chamber Luncheon. And I so appreciated the conversation, and I especially appreciated Mark Fitz, who talked about the lack of supply and just the market forces and the challenges of government and the challenges of regulation and how we really need to look at everything holistically. He was not in support of the Metro bond measure because he sees that we could solve the problem by increasing land supply and looking at some of the regulations. I, on the other hand, am very much in support of the Metro bond because I see a very urgent need for us to do what we can as a government to increase the supply and to really promote public-private partnership because government can't do it alone. And I like that the Metro bond and the constitutional amendment will allow us to do that if the voters so agree with us. But I really thought at that moment, this is all so important. We have to hear all perspectives. We have to get out of any corners that we may find ourselves in and really embrace the conversation. I went up to Mark afterwards and it's like, Mark, can we just have coffee? And I want to bounce things off of you, have it come back at me, and let's just continue this conversation. And he was just so welcoming, and I just so appreciate that. And that is the spirit of Clackamas County. It's that connection, and it's that let's solve the problem, and that is the spirit of what we have here in our region. And Commissioner Savas really articulates it well when he talks about where is the area of growth, and it is in Clackamas County. And we are looking at, we had a retreat, and when we have a full board, we're going to be talking about how we as a commission and through our commission office are going to be looking at strategically thinking about our region and the growth that is happening so that we can do things right to preserve our quality of life. So I do just want to, I don't know if this is what will be in the time capsule when we put it into the ground. It's not going to be it didn't happen on the birthday, thank goodness. And it will be happening into the future, and all of the commission will be weighing in on what that looks like. But I just wanted to share the ending of what I had written on the morning of the birthday. And I said, I wonder how we create a society where people can cope with all of the rapid changes and increased technology. I worry now about all of our homeless who are not only pushed out of housing due to market forces, but may also be struggling with mental health issues and an inability to adjust to our changing society. I serve now so that I can contribute to the foundation laid before me that values the unique qualities and spirit of this precious place. I am hopeful that the leaders that come after me will build on this foundation so that this place will continue to inspire and prosper. And with that, we are adjourned.